with the Giants, to me, I really like their first four picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then their last two are just kind of like,
Well, I mean, when the sixth round,
yeah, but
you're going to get what, and maybe they're going best player available. Maybe they're trying to add some depth, and help out Saquon Barkley with the Gary Brightwell pick. But that being said, I think the Giants of these teams had the best draft. And I also did, and when we talk about the Vikings, I have to review, but I might say the same thing about the Vikings, because when you trade back and you get a first round pick and you still get the player, like a great player,
yeah,
I like that. That is such a solid draft for them to get Kadarius Toney at number 20 overall. That can instantly come in, and they got a first round pick next year, and Bears could suck, and so that could be a really good first round pick.
Yeah.
And then you get Zizo Jalari that falls all the way down to them. Aaron Robertson was an underrated cornerback coming out of college. Those three players right there, I think, are starters on day one.
Yeah. For me, Aaron Robinson was a guy. I was watching tape for Richie Grant, and I saw Aaron Robinson, and I was like, wow. Yeah. And like this, I mean, he is athletic. I want to say, yeah, he's perfect size for a corner. He's very physical, fast. So that pick for me is great, especially in a division that added Devontae Smith and Diami Brown. You need speed at the cornerback position, and I think that's a very good pick for them. For me, Azeez Ojulari is a fantastic value. I mean, 6'2", 250. I mean,
I agree.
Dominated in the bowl game.
Oh,
dominated.
Absolutely dominated. And some of those offenses are probably worse than Cincinnati's offense. So Azeez Ojulari could do really well in the NFC East.
Yeah.
But no, that's why I think even though they had the least amount of picks, I think that they had the best draft. If we're talking about overall player value, sorry, not player value, player skill to the team that they're going to. I mean, just adding Tony, Azeez Ojulari, and then Aaron Robinson, those first three picks, like that right there, holy cow. Like, that's a draft.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good draft, considering then that they also got a first-round pick next year. So, so this draft could even go up for me. And I'm giving them an A- only because they only had 6 picks, personally.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a B+ for the same reason. But I'm going to do one more, and just one of the things that I hated the most about this draft is you have Saquon Barkley and a young quarterback in Daniel Jones that need some help. I mean, that offensive line was atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the worst 10 offensive lines in the league, and they didn't draft one offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And so I know they re-signed Nate Solder, and I think they signed a few free agent offensive linemen, but I mean, in that division, you have to have something.
Yeah, and they do have Adrian Thomas coming on his second year, so he's going to be learning.
Yeah,
and so I think they addressed some of those needs in the offseason. But that's a point though that they could have added some value, especially in that 6th round as well. I mean, there's going to be offensive linemen that are available. That hey, well, let's give them a shot. You know what I mean?
And that's what I was referring to when I said in the beginning, like I just didn't really like the 6th round picks, just because I feel like you could have drafted is it Dante Brown, the guy from Alabama, the guard that was like 350 pounds.
Yeah.
And like he was there. I mean, he was available.
Yeah.
While he's not going to be super athletic or the best offensive lineman, he's still an upgrade for you. And so for you to go draft Gary Brightwell, a running back out of Arizona, when you have Saquon Barkley, who can literally do it all.
Yeah.
Granted, he got hurt. He got hurt last year, right?
Yeah, he tore his.
Yeah. And granted, he got hurt, but I think you got to give something to Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, and that for me was like the biggest downfall of the Giants draft. But I like what they did in the first 4 picks. It just, like, I don't know. you got to win the trenches, especially in this division.
No,
so.
I agree, and that's one thing I think we've been saying a lot about Panay Sewell and Rashawn Slater. It seems like we go towards drafting towards the interior, and it's like, and we'll talk about it more when we get to Pittsburgh. But when you don't have an offensive line in front of you, like you and I are 6'2" and in the mid 250s. If we got signed by one of these,
well, I'm not in the mid 250s. But
excuse me, I'm not in the mid 250s. I was averaging. But I was averaging.
Okay,
because you're clearly more in the 250s than I am.
I am taller than you.
That is true. That's a good point. But but like if you put us in like on an offensive line, we're not going to be able to guard anybody, and like that offense is going to be crap. You could pay the guys behind us as much money as you want, but it's going to be nothing. You need to have a world-class offensive lineman in front of you, and then you'll be able to pay whoever it is. If we have a world-class offensive lineman in front of us, we could at least get a couple of yards per run. You know what I mean? Throwing.
Oh yeah.
But like if you have no one to block for your running backs, then they're not going to be successful.
Well, so the year that DeMarco Murray ran for 2,000 yards, that offensive line, I mean, I think they had 3 Pro Bowlers that year on that offensive line. And like a couple All-Pros.
Yeah. Then look at his career after that. He goes to teams that have mediocre offensive linemen, and he can't produce the same. You know, so if you're going to spend your money, you need to go spend your money on the offensive lineman. Peyton Lindsey, undrafted rookie, runs for 1,000 yards. He had a great offensive lineman in front of him in Denver when he did that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Who's another one?
Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Derrick Henry is a freak. I will say that he can throw guys off him. But that being said, though, if you look at their Ravens, the Ravens-Titans playoff game, Ravens absolutely did a great job on the interior defensive line and plugging those holes. Titans did also have some injuries last year. Taylor Lewan tore his ACL and was out for the year, their star left tackle. Yeah. And he couldn't produce the same. Now, he still ran for over 2,000 yards, yes. But some of that was he had a couple of 230-yard plus games, I think both against actually. So,
But then in the opposite case for me, the Seattle Seahawks have not really been able to put together a running game since they made a Super Bowl run in 2014-15.
Yeah.
And they had Marshawn Lynch, but they also had good offensive linemen. It was nothing spectacular, but I mean it was above average offensive line in the league. And so for me, I think time and time again you see these teams and they ignore the offensive line position, and I think it's to their detriment. That's because as good as your skill position players are, if you don't have time to get the ball to them, then it's pointless. So,
yeah, and we're going to be seeing that now with Atlanta, and when Julio Jones, we'll have to do an episode on it, or a special episode, because he's probably going to get traded, and you see that's what happens. They haven't made the playoffs the past couple of years. They've had losing records over the past 3 years, and yet they paid Julio Jones and Matt Ryan a crap ton of money.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. But now they're having to dump out all that stuff, and it's not like the NFL is not like the NBA, where like LeBron James could be the highest paid player by tens of millions of dollars and then still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? And still make a deep run in the playoffs. The NBA, the NFL is not a one-man sport. You need all 22 guys to understand what the other 21 guys are doing, and to be coherent and cohesive in a team sport, so to say. Baseball is such an individualized sport where technically you could have one guy go out and win a game. Like if the pitcher throws a perfect game, like there's nothing the other team can do. You know what I mean? It has no impact on the other player, so to say. And that's what's kind of the beauty of football is you need to have all of your starters. All the players and coaching staff need to be on the same page and the same game plan to come forward. And when you pay all your money to one guy, then you're going to have scrubs like us. Also,